Hi, welcome to Craft Little Things. I'm Andrea and I'm going to show you how to make this octagonal box today. What I wanted to do was not waste your time by showing you everything twice. So I'm just showing you, this is the base, and I'm going to go through how to make the lid with you because it's the same, the same thing. So what I did for the box, what you need for the box is you need 2 pieces of, I've used Very Vanilla here, which measure 8.5 inches. I'll do the centimetres for you. Let me just get my conversion. 8.5 inches, which is 21.6 centimetres, by 4 inches, which is 10.2 centimetres. And what you do is on the short side you score at 2 inches, which is 5 centimetres, and on the long side you score at 2, 4, 6 and 8. So that's 5 centimetres, 10.2 centimetres, 15.2 centimetres and 20.3 centimetres. And then all you do is you just cut off your little tab. If you look, you'll end up with something like this. So you just cut off one of the tabs. On the box bottom, these 2 sections will be the same size. So you'd cut off one of your tabs, notch in, score all your, burnish all your score lines, and then just add some glue on the outside of the tab and stick them together. And then what you do is you notch in, which I'm going to do again here, so you're going to see this. So you notch in your fold over sort of bottom pieces, and then you just flap them all over. And then once you've got, and I don't put any glue on, once I've got it into a octagonal shape, then I draw around it, and then I cut out 2 pieces of Very Vanilla, using that drawing as a template. So I pop one on the bottom, I glue one on the bottom and one on the inside. I glue the one on the inside first because that gets your shape nice. I don't know if you can see, but that one's been embossed to make it look a bit more special. Can you see that? Don't think you can, but anyway, it's been embossed. So now I'm going to make the lid, and the lid is made in much the same way, except for the lid, the sizes are a little bit different. So you do have 4 inches in depth, but you have 8 and 6/8, 8 and 5/8 length. So that's 10.2 by 21.9 centimetres. And then what you do is you score on the short side, you're going to score at 2.5, which is 6.4 centimetres. Depending on which way you're holding it, you might want to score this side, which is 1 inch, which is 2.5. 1.5. Which is 3.8. And then what you do is you score on the long side, you score at 2 1/16, 4 2/16, 6 3/16, and 8 1/4. So that is 2 1/16 is 5.3 centimetres, 4 2/16 is 4 1/4, so that's 10.8 centimetres. 6 3/16 is 16.2 centimetres, and 8 1/2 is 21.6. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's 8 1/4, not 8 1/2. 21. Sorry. So that's what you want to be doing. Okay, so I'm just going to do it, and what I do is to get this, I haven't got 16ths on my scoreboard, so I use my paper trimmer. Keep my cutting blade well out of the way, just put that into 2 1/16, move it along to 4 2/16, and move it along to 6 3/16, and then move it along to 8 and 4/16, 8 1/4. Okay. Now, somebody's stolen my scissors. Now I'm going to burnish my score lines. You can see my stamping here because that's what I'm going to cover my box with. Now if you're a bit worried about making a lid to fit, which you should be because it's very hard to do. It's not that hard to do, it's just that you've got to be really precise. One of the things you can do is, instead of using your box to draw around to make a template, you could just cut out a hexagon on a cutting machine, or using a die that's got 2-inch edges, but that's not going to help you so much for your top. But anyway, right, so with this top piece then for the lid, it's a little bit different because unusually the longer piece is the piece that's going to fold over and the short piece is the piece that we're going to keep. So you want to cut out this long rectangle at the end and tab that in, because that's going to be your tab, okay, the smaller piece. And then cut up each of these score lines up to the first horizontal, or the only horizontal, and you are going to notch these in, so don't worry so much about getting them straight. So then just notch those in to the, that was a bit of a fail, but never mind. Notching them in just makes them easier to, some people make them complete triangles, but I've found that with when you're doing a hexagon, that kind of works. When you're doing a pentagon, it kind of works, but it doesn't work so well when you're doing an octagon. Okay, and then just do exactly the same to the other piece. And then what you want to do is just join these two together. So that tab will stick to there and the other tab will stick to the other side. And I'm just going to join them with a bit of Tombow. If you're using Tombow, don't use too much of it, because it'll just make everything slide around, and you don't want it to slide around, as that just slid around and is still sliding around. And then I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on this one. Either don't use too much or let it go a little bit tacky before you try to, you know, finish off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to notch in these a little bit more. Right, so if you do that now, what you can either do, obviously this is going to go on the inside. This is my template that I drew around for the bottom, but it needs to be slightly bigger for the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this into the lid. Oops. To keep it in shape, yeah? And then I'm going to draw around to get a piece for the top. Because what I want for the top actually is I want DSP on the top. I don't want it to be plain on the top. Well, not DSP, but I want it to be a paper. A colour, sorry. I'll get there in the end. And then that'll fit on nicely, like we've made the box and we've made the lid. Okay, And what I've done is I've just put one of the hexagons in the lid, and then the top, no, it looks a bit of a mess at the minute. What I've done is I've just taken the red and olive markers and I've just drawn along these lines here. And then what happens is, you're not going to see any of this because it's mostly going to be covered up. But then what happens is you need these for the topper. Now these start at 3.5 squared, which is 8.9 centimetres squared. And then I've used this green plaid or tartan, which is 3.25 squared. That's 8.3. Then another piece of real red, which is 2.75 squared. So that's 7 centimetres. And then this one is 2.5 centimetres squared. So that's 6.4. And then this one is 2 centimetres squared. So that's 5 centimetres. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there in the real red. For the sides of the box, what you need is 2 strips of 1 inch, and I'm going to use this corresponding red tartan or red plaid, and mine are both off a full sheet. They measure 12 inches. You're not going to need 12 inches, so we'll sort that out when we get to it. And then you're going to need 8 pieces of real red card, which measure 1 3/8 by 1 7/8. So that's 3.5 by 4.8 centimetres. And then to go on top of those, the little strips of green, which measure 1 1/4 by 1 3/4. So that's 3.2 by 4.5 centimetres. And they're going to go on the sides of the lid only. So this is going to go on the side of the box. Okay, so drop it down because obviously your lid is going to go on there. So you want it just to be showing along the bottom of the box. So use the bottom of your box as a guide, and you can either use tape or you can use glue. I'm going to use glue, so I've got a little bit of leeway. And I'm just going to pop it along the bottom there. I'm just going to not quite hit the bottom. And then this box, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick each of these on with the piece of the green plaid. Obviously I'm going to put the green plaid on first before I stick them to the box. So I'm just going to pop that on and stick that on and just leave a little bit of a rim. Oh. Okay, so I'll just pop that to one side to dry, and then I'll start to build this up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out the corners, and I'm going to use this corner rounder. So this panel I'm going to glue on. Okay, so that's going to be glued on, going like that. This panel I'm going to put on with dimensionals, if I can. But this is just super cute and so easy to make. It is a bit of a faff, but it doesn't, surprisingly, it doesn't use a lot of cardstock or paper, and it's just so cute. And like I say, the topper, you can do whatever you wanted with it, but I like to do that. And if it was going to be a gift, then you could wrap obviously a ribbon around it and stick a bow on it. But yeah, I just love it, it's cute. So thanks for joining me for that.